Thank you so much for joining us. Today, as Michelle mentioned, my name is Karishma Punwani. I'm the Director of Academic Product Management here at Maplesoft, and I'm joined with my colleague, Nadia, who works on the Academic Product Management team. And today, we're going to give you a sneak peek of Maple 2023. And so, as Michelle had mentioned, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A. Nadia and I are going to kind of tag team together. And we'll do our best to address your questions via, oh my goodness, we'll do our best to type in answers to your questions, and we'll be here for a Q&A session. So in this particular webinar, this is a sneak peek. And so what I'm going to show you is an unreleased version of Maple. Nadia and I have bets on if Maple will actually crash during this presentation. But I'm really excited to show you what's coming. So I'm going to share my screen. And hopefully everybody can see that. Nadia, thumbs up. Can you see my screen? Perfect. Okay. And so what Nadia and I have prepared for you today is kind of showing you, couldn't show you all of the features in Maple 2023, but we wanted to pick out some of the ones that we're really excited about, and I think that would benefit our academic user base. So there's a lot to cover over here. I'm just going to dive in, and we'll see how it goes. So the first thing I want to focus on are some of the changes and the improvements and enhancements we've made to the area of visualization and interface. So I'm going to click on this. Oops, let me scroll back up. And the first thing I want to talk about, and I think this is the one that Nadia and I, or feature that Nadia and I are really excited about, is the improvements we've made to the plot builder. So if you'll recall, in Maple 2022, we re-implemented the plot builder. And so making it even easier for both students and instructors to kind of plot their function, their expressions, and configure their visualizations using that plot builder panel. One of the things that we've done in this release is we've actually now extended the plot builder and what it can do to allow you to plot expressions and actually create animations and sliders with parameters. And so now you actually get an interactive plot. So let me show you an example of how this works. I'm going to open up a new worksheet. Over here. Perfect. So here's that particular function. And now what I want to do is, I'm going to, let me open up the panel. Here we have it. I'm going to click on Plot Builder. So this is what we had last time. We had this a 3D plot, but this time you'll see there's this new option called Exploration. So I'm going to click on Exploration. And so now we get a 2D plot. Over here, I am going to change this to T. Let's go and make some modifications. So I'll make this blue. Maybe I'll change the thickness. I will change that over here. Now I'm going to go and set my parameter options. So I'm going to click down here. My parameter is A. I am going to change this. I want to go from, let's go from 0 to 20, and I'm going to click this 10. So notice it updates over here. I can also then go ahead and change whether I use a slider or volume gauge, a dial, a meter. Sorry, I'm going to use the slider right now. I'm going to change the location of this left. I could create an animation. I'll just show you now. Vertical. And if all works well, we're going to click Build Exploration. And here we have it. And now I can go and I have a slider. At any point, I can make any changes. I can click back, Edit. The panel reappears, and I can make any modifications that I want to. So this is the first example that I wanted to show today. Second example, let's go ahead and explore with 2 parameters. So again, I'm going to open a new worksheet. Here's that expression. Click on Plot Builder. Now we want an exploration over here. I want a 2D plot, because I want to show you two parameters. I'm going to change this to X over here. Same thing, I can make some customizations, but I'm going to go to my parameter options right now. And you'll notice here I have two parameters. I can change the range and an initial value for them. I'm just going to leave them here for now. And now I'm going to click on Build Exploration. And so you'll see two sliders appear, and I can start moving these, and same here. And the last example that I want to show you is how to use the Plot Builder Explore functionality on a 3D plot. So here we have it. I'm going to click on Plot Builder. Once again, I'm going to go to Exploration. Here's that 3D plot. I'm going to change this to X and Y. Let's go ahead and change the shading. Okay, like this one. I can go to my parameter options over here. I'm going to change my range for this example. We're going to go from 0 to 5, and let's pick initial value of 1. So we're going to go and build this exploration. Here it is, same thing. I can start changing this. So this is a feature that Nadia and I are really excited about. We've worked hard for this particular release, and this feature, being able to do explorations, was really was implemented because of feedback that we got from our users. It's something that we knew we wanted to include within the Plot Builder, and we've done it. So once Maple 2023 is out, I'd love you to, go ahead and create some of these interactive explorations and give us your feedback. So that's the Plot Builder. Nadia, did you want to add anything over here?
Yeah. Yes, actually, someone is asking, what about using free parameters or more, actually, to build the exploration? Well, this is actually gonna be possible in the next release. When you're gonna see, you're gonna be able to add 3, 4, 5. Honestly, I haven't been above 5 parameter to explore with the same plot. So yes, it's gonna be possible.
Thank you, Nadia. So next thing I want to show you right now is another improvement that we've made to visualization, again, based on feedback, was color bars. So in Maple 2023, we now have color bars for contour and density plots. And so the best way to show you this is by example. So here I have a contour plot. This is my particular function. And let me close the panel right now so you can see it. And here we have it. So we have our color bar. I think this might be my favorite example. Something else is you can change the different color maps. And here we have it. So Maple 2023 has color bars. Some other things. So the default colors for plots can be set with the plot set color command, and those colors are now used as the default colors for density plot, contour plot, and DE tools, a DE plot. So I'll show you this. So here I'm setting my colors, and there you have it. I'm using, in this case, a blue, violet, and a coral. I'm going to use the spring palette now. And so you can see that that changes. Moving from visualization to some interface changes. So something that I really wanted, and I know Nadia and many of our users have asked for, is to be able to have multiple pages, multiple help pages open up. And this makes it really easy to reference different content. So I'm going to show you what we've done. So let's go. I'm going to call open the What's New help page. So this is the What's New help page. I purposely put it up. As I mentioned before, we're not going to be able to cover everything today, so take a look at it. But I can go ahead and start clicking on this, and notice that multiple tabs are being opened. And I'm just randomly picking. So this makes it really easy to visualize, or not, I wouldn't say visualize, but just refer to other commands. So here, the other thing is, if I click on this, I can actually go ahead and copy the help topic name. So I'm going to do that. Let me minimize this and I'll show you. Now it's really easy to actually, if you ever want to create a hyperlink to a help page in a document, you can do that really easily. Let me show you how to do that over here. So I can say, check out what we've done in Maple 23 for math. And I can go like this, right click, convert this to my hyperlink. And let's make this help topic. So click. Okay, and if I click on this, it'll go straight to that help page. So again, this is just, it was a minor enhancement, but it's something that users have often wanted. For Maple 2023, another thing that we've done is we've extended the context panel for changing the size of matrices and piecewise functions. So here we have this matrix. I've put this in over here, and all I have to do right now is, you'll notice as soon as I click on it, we have these options to insert a new row, insert a column, delete a row, so on and so forth. Over here, I can go ahead and let's go and insert a column to the right. And you can see I can just add some values over here. And that's how I can do it. You could also right click and be able to do the same thing. For a piecewise function. So here's my piecewise function over here. Again, just for reference, I took the piecewise out of our expressions. I have my piecewise. Now I can go ahead and I can click on this, open that context panel. Let's go ahead and insert a row below. And now I might change this for, let's do X. We're going to go change this to X minus 3. And I can say otherwise. And if I do that, I've gone ahead and updated my piecewise function. So again, something else that we wanted to just make it easier for users to be able to do. And then the last thing I wanted to show in this section for visualization and interface is a change that we've made in Maple 2023 is that it makes it even easier to add custom content to a palette. So let's say for whatever reason I want this particular piecewise function, I want to be able to refer back to it. I can highlight on this, right click, you'll see there's an option to create a task. I can go and do that. I can call this my piecewise. Click OK, and you'll notice that it appears in this tasks palette. And so now if I have a prompt, click on that. That is not what there we go. It opened up the help page, but here you have our particular piecewise function. So Nadia, before I move on, any questions, anything else that you wanted to add to the visualization and interface section?
No, I think all good. I think that some people are getting excited about those new features, already asking when they're going to be available. So just to confirm, all of what Karishma is showing at the moment will be available in the next release, which is 2023.
Perfect. Great. I'm glad everybody's excited. Let's go on. There's more. So let me close some of these tabs. And we're going into, where are we going? Some of the improvements we've made to programming and connectivity. So there's a number of different changes over here. And let me dive in. So let's pull out my template. So this is the first thing that I wanted to talk about. So we know a lot of users, use create MPL files, Maple language files, and they generally do it in an external tool such as Notepad++. And in the past, what's happened is if you went into Maple and you did File, Open, it would just basically take everything that's in that MPL and you would get it into a worksheet. And so the problem with this is that it becomes very difficult to debug. Now, what I have right here is a very small example. But if you have a library, that calls different procedures, it becomes difficult to really figure out what's going on. One thing that I like, and it's improvement that we've made in 2023, and which we will continue to improve in subsequent releases, is the ability to go now. I'm going to go File, Open. And so here I have my MPL. And if I click on this, I get it in a code edit region. So here it is. Of course, I have my diagnostic over here. So if I had made a mistake and executed, it would tell me where my mistakes had been made. But what I like about this is that it's here and you can start using it and making some changes. So now what I want to do is show you. So now I've gone ahead. Actually, I don't think I executed that. Let me go here. Here it is. Let me run this. So now I'm going to take this module that I created and I'm going to read it into Maple. So I'll close this. Let me get code edit region and I'm going to say read some okay. Oh, hold on. I think I'm in the wrong. Let me just change my directory, working directory. Let's try this one more time. We'll go to my documents, Maple. Let's change that. Let's go back here. There we have it. And now I can, let's see, width, some tools. So now I can see the procedures that I have over here. And this first one, I didn't even talk to you what I did. It's very simple. All it does is it computes a times x plus y. And the second procedure that I have is the square minus 1. And so I can just call this. So, and let's do square minus 1. And if we hit enter, this will execute and I get my results. So that's a change that we've made to Maple 2023 to just make it easier for users to bring in their libraries into Maple and to make programming better. At this point, I want to talk about some improvements that we've made to code edit regions. So you'll notice I was using a code edit region here. And one of the things that both Nadia and I have been doing, is encouraging our users to start making use of the code edit region. It just makes programming so much nicer. It has syntax highlighting. It gives you the ability to indent. There's a lot of features that it has. And one of the things that we've done in 2023 is to kind of improve the code edit region. So one thing you can do here in a code edit region is you can actually add 1D math expressions using the expressions palette. So I'm going to create a piecewise. And if I click this, it puts it right in here. And now I can make some changes. Just do something really simple. So here's my piecewise function. I can also enter in units using the units palette. So I can do, let's say, here's my units palette 2, and I want feet. And I can also, there's a hotkey in the code edit region. So I could do 2, and I believe it's Control-Shift-U. Here it is, and I can go ahead and enter in units. I think this might be Nadia's probably favorite feature. One of the things that we've done in 2023 is, and you'll see that is really kind of improved our connectivity with Python. But from a code edit region perspective, you can now select Python as a language in the code edit region. And so then the code will automatically be executing using a Python 3 engine, which is distributed with Maple. So here is, I have some Python code, but what you'll notice here, so I'm going to right click on this code edit region, go to component properties, and you'll see I have the ability to change the language, and Python is an option over here. So now I'll execute this. So I'll just press enter. I'm going to actually call some Python commands. So oops. So this is called Python function. Let me spell that correctly. And if I type this in correctly, so here it is. And now I'm going to evaluate this. And I should get an identity matrix. And here it is. And so something else that we've done over here is Maple 2023. There's a new Open Maple for Python, and it's an interface for the Python programming language that allows you to access Maple algorithms and data structures from a Python session on the same machine. So here I have some Python code, and it just shows you kind of how you can create this. Once again, this component property language is Python over here. So this is all Python code. Something else, you'll notice it over here, is you can use Maple commands and symbols in Python. And there are two ways to do this. In Open Maple API, it's using maple.symbols or maple.namespace. So if I use the maple.symbols, I can specify a list of symbols as strings, as so, and then I can assign these to Python variables and continue to use them. And the Maple namespace lets you reference any symbol from Maple with a simple prefix. So over here, I can say MPL. Notice I'm importing maple.namespace as MPL, and I'm going to reference the Chebyshev function. And for those of you who prefer to work kind of command line, so the Maple command line script on Mac OS and Linux now accepts an additional flag, -Python, which launches the version of Python distributed with Maple. And this is automatically configured to enable Open Maple for Python to work. So this is a big change. Again, one of the reasons we put it in is because we have a lot of users using both Maple and Python, and we wanted to make it easier for them to continue to be productive using both tools. Whew. Nadia, any questions over here, or anything else that you wanted to add?
Yes, just a quick comment on this Open Maple for Python, because we got a few questions. The idea behind this feature is really to give the ability to people who don't know how to code in Maple a possibility, and who knows how to code in Python, a possibility to use the power of Maple. So obviously at the beginning, they're gonna stay with the Python language because they know it. So we gave them this option so they can do it. But the more they're gonna become familiar with Maple, the more they're gonna just switch to Maple language and do programmation and math in Maple. So really what we are trying to do here is really not to like make people migrate from Python within Maple or something like that. It's just to give a tool to allow people who know already how to code in Python to access commands and like really powerful algorithms that are built in Maple that they cannot access within Python. And that
Thank you, Nadia. Also over here again, we only have an hour together, and I do want to reserve time for questions. There is a lot more information in the What's New help page, and of course, once we launch Maple 2023, a lot more information will be available on the web. So that concludes the section on programming. And now I want to go to advanced math and performance. And there was a number of improvements over here. So let me launch that screen. So we'll start with, and again, based on feedback and requests from users, better answers for indefinite integrals of algebraic functions. And so what we've done right now is the int command. It uses Blake's heuristic to look for substitutions to find elementary forms for certain algebraic integrands. And so I wanted to show you some options and some improvements. So here's some examples, and the following examples were produced the following examples produced a very complicated expression in earlier versions of Maple. And in Maple 23, we have a simple elementary answer. So in this first example, so this is an example where Maple 2022, the default answer comes from the elliptic integration method. And the answer is in terms of elliptic functions and is quite long. So this was what we got in Maple 2023 when you were trying to evaluate this particular integral. And sorry, I should say Maple 2022. In Maple 2023, here's the result. So in Maple 2022, this following integral produced an answer in terms of elliptic functions and roots of length. I mean, it exceeds over here 100,000. So here I have it. This was my solution. I think over here, actually, I copied the wrong solutions because you were expecting, sorry, Nadia, that was my mistake. I'll send it to you, an elliptic function. So here I actually have the output from Maple 2023. So that's something else to keep in mind. The int command now exposes more internal routines for indefinite integration through the method option, and it's now possible to directly call the integration by parts routine parts and a parallel reversion of the Riesz algorithm, parallel Riesz. So here's two examples. Here's the first example and the second one. So we have a new subpackage in Maple 2023. It's called Zed Polyhedral Sets, and it's part of the polyhedral sets package. And so what it does is a Zed polyhedral set is the intersection of a polyhedral set with an integer lattice. And so I think this is best understood by example. So here's a three-dimensional polyhedral set. So here's all my inequalities. I'm gonna call the polyhedral set command on these inequalities. And now if I plot. Here I have it. Another improvement is, so everybody's probably familiar with the traveling salesman example or problem. And so one of the things that we've done in 2023 is that the traveling salesman, it now makes use of Concord, which is a well-known library for implementing highly efficient heuristics for solving instances of the traveling salesman problem. And this addition considerably increases the size of problems which the traveling salesman is able to handle. So again, I'll have another example over here. So in this particular example, we're going to import a data set of the 100 largest cities in Africa, in the African continent. And we're going to ask the traveling salesman algorithm to find a minimal tour of them. So I'm going to load the graph theory package. Here's our African cities. I'm going to import this. So we have it. And I'm going to create this graph. And now over here, I'm going to use the new vertex positions options. And so here we have it. And let's go ahead and create a subgraph. And I love this. So what we can also do is we can combine this graph with the map of Africa. So if I click on this, I have it. And of course, if I hover, I can see all of the different cities. And I can click in here. Of course, something else I can do if I wanted to is I can zoom into a particular area. And this is a feature from previous releases of Maple. And so now I can go and I can look and I can see all the different cities. And if I click on this, I can zoom that out. So the next thing I want to talk about are improvements to simplify. Actually, I'm just going to, there. So now I can show you. So we've made a lot of improvements to simplify. So the core algorithm improvements, Simplify is now more careful about when to reject intermediate simplifications. It avoids normalizing pure rational polynomials when there's no advantage in doing so. So here in previous releases of Maple, you would actually see it expanded all of this. Or when the benefits are outweighed by the drawbacks. So this particular expression would produce a polynomial with 307 terms. And the comment here from the developer, it was harder to describe this as simpler. So now over here, it just echoes out because this is in the simplest form. And the previous result can, of course, still be obtained by calling normal or factor. So this is what you had in 2022 when you use simplify on that on this expression above. That's not what I was expecting. This is what I was expecting, sorry. Let me see. Hopefully I won't cause my machine to crash. This is what I was expecting. So this was the result by default in 2022. I don't think it's simpler. And so now in 2023, there is no benefit to actually going ahead and factoring this all out. And so it remains as is. Simplify is better at factoring out common factors. So this expression can now be reduced to 0 by calling simplify just once instead of 3 times. We've made improvements to sum, integration, limit, and product. And so it now follows the semantics of sum in applying limit instead of eval when simplifying sums at a singular point. Over here, it pulls out non-zero factors from potentially infinite sums, integrals, limits, and products. It now looks more carefully for terms in trig arguments, which are integer multiples of pi over 2, and therefore can be removed, resulting in simplification. I'll just go ahead and execute all of these. It makes use of all 6 standard trig functions to express the answer in a more compact form. So here you have it. It tries to convert cos squared to 1 minus sine squared. And so you'll see that over here. And so an example that combines both of the above new features. And this is a much more compact than the previous example, which was this. So now I want to jump to some performance improvements. So the underlying engine that Solve uses to solve a system of linear equations with rational coefficients has been improved. And so we've added a solve tools, linear solvables, rational dents. And it is now used for most system of equations with more than 5% of their coefficients being non-zero, that are also overdetermined or highly underdetermined with user-specified free variables. So here's an example of a highly overdetermined system with many solutions. And so here I have it. I'm going to execute this. And so the old default method over here, I'm not going to execute, which we got, actually you can. using dense equals false. So here you can see the time, and then the new default is significantly faster compared to that. So you see the time over here. And then we've made improvements to hardware floating point evaluation of numeric matrices. So here's another example. I'll execute this. And so now we'll go here. So now you can see this is an improvement. And evaluation of sums, products, and functions now use less memory and more direct path to hardware float evaluation. And the following example is more than 2 times faster in Maple 2023. So this is the result in Maple 2023. It was 2 times slower in previous releases of Maple. Nadia, any questions over here?
No, I think we are good.
Okay. Again, there's a number of different improvements and enhancements made to advanced math. This is something that we strive to do every year. You know, we want to make sure that we're keeping up to date, that users have all of the latest technology in order to solve their problems, that, you know, not only do we add new features, but that the performance is getting better. So if you do have questions, feel free to ask Nadia and I after this webinar. And if we don't have the information, we can put you in touch with a developer who can shed some more light into the details. And now I'm going to move to the last section over here, which focuses really on the features and enhancements to Maple 2023 from a teaching and learning perspective. So I'll click this. So we have Maple 2023 has more solution steps, and we added this because over the years we've had a lot of requests and a lot of users, instructors like our step-by-step solutions. So we can now have steps for implicit differentiation. So it was added to the student calculus package. So here's the steps. There's a new command, complete square steps, that shows the algebraic steps required to complete the squares. Here it is. And long division results. So Maple 2023 adds a new option to the long division command that makes it clear how the inputs relate back to the computed result.
Karishma, sorry,
yes.
Can you zoom?
I'm so sorry. Yes, absolutely. There we go. And let me go ahead and scroll. Thank you, Nadia, and apologies. So here is the student calculus implicit differentiation command. Complete square steps. And now we were talking about long division results. So in the example below, the division is carried out, and then below the long division, it shows an answer derived from the long division that is equal to the dividend over the divisor. So here you have it. Something else that we've done, and I'm very, very proud of it. So many of you who are attending this webinar know about kind of our physics support and our physics package. The Maple Physics package is a great tool for kind of advanced solving and handling kind of advanced physics problems. And one of the things that we wanted to do in 2023 is to start bringing all of that support and just making it a little bit more accessible. And so Maple 2023 now has a physics courseware support for mechanics. And this content is helpful complement for a physics mechanics course. It really supports university physics students with their first and second year mechanics courses. And it contains typical symbolic problems and shows how they can be solved in a Maple worksheet, demonstrating how computer algebra can support learning activities. I'm very, very proud of the work that's done over here. So if I'm going to click on this link, you'll see it's a behemoth of a help document, tons of information and resources. It will load momentarily. There we have it. And so you'll see all of these different sections. And it's nice because it shows you and really illustrates the advantage of using computer algebra, using Maple to solve these types of problems. Now, I am not a physics expert, but I know we've had our internal community has been evaluating this and beta testing it, and the feedback has been very positive. So my request is, if you know people within the physics department, who are maybe using Maple, but for more advanced physics research, tell them to take a look at this. I'd love feedback over here. And our thought is to extend this for 2024. So another thing is there's a new quiz builder command, and it's loaded with sample quizzes, and it makes it easy for you to create your own quiz questions. So I'm going to go to grading, quiz builder, click on this, and it puts this in here. And basically it gives me a template for now creating different quizzes. So I just have to put my, what is this quiz called, my question, and I can choose the different types of question types over here. For this webinar, I'm just going to pick a sample. So let's go to a multi-line one. Everything is pre-populated. This makes it really easy. You can start with one of these samples, make any modifications you want. And now I can take this and I can publish it to Maple Learn, or I can create a question in a new Maple document, which is what I'm going to show you here. Here you have it. I can execute this. And
Karishma,
here,
Sam,
yes.
Zoom, the Zoom.
Is this better? Okay. Here I have it. Integration multi-line feedback. So all I have to do is now solve this particular problem. Of course, if I don't know the problem, let me rephrase. If I don't know how to solve this, if I want to see the solution, I can click on show solution. And it will give me the solution. I can do try another. It gives me a different thing. So here I can go ahead and enter in kind of line by line how I would solve this particular problem. I'll just show you now. So if I did this correctly, let's go ahead and make a mistake. And I can say check answer. And they'll say check this step, please try again. This is not the correct solution. I can go and modify this. Hopefully I did this correctly. Good job. So this is one example of a multi-line feedback type quiz. But like I said, there's many more that you can do. And so I would encourage you to take a look at the quiz builder. And so you get to that by loading grading and then the quiz builder command. And lastly, kind of extending from this is we've created a new gallery that offers extensive examples that use Canvas scripting to create different types of interactive content in Maple that can be shared in Maple itself or online via Maple Learn. And so I'll just show you this. I think we have over 44 different templates. All of the code is there, so it's very easy to modify. So I'm just going to open this. And of course, let me go in here, and here it is. So this is the example. And so they're organized. There's different templates for, if you want to create interactive clickable plots, you can do that. So over here, let me open one. You'll see all of these are structured the same way. You have code editor regions. All of the code is exposed to you, making it very easy for you to customize this. And at the bottom, of course, there is an associated Maple Learn link. And if you click on this and re-execute, it'll give you a new Learn link, which includes your changes. And this is it in Maple. So here I have it in this particular example. It's a fiber optics 3D example. I can make this opaque. It changes it. I can view the cross section and so on and so forth. So that's one example. Another example over here is clickable plots. All of the code, once again, I have this. And so here I can just go ahead and click on the edge. And notice this one, it gives me some feedback. It's been programmed to do that. So I can do this and so on. And let's go ahead and actually make a mistake. And so it gives me feedback. So I can reveal the solution if I wanted to. So that's the solution, and I can try another one. Again, in terms of visualization, lots of different things you can do over here. Here, I want to show you one. So it's an interactive visualization. Here's the code. And so here, I can go and change these values over here. So here I have a cube thing. So on and so forth. And of course, I can click on this and it'll take me to the Learn web-based view of this particular document. And then lastly, I want to show Quiz Builder. I think I showed you that already. So here's some more examples, other things that we've created. There's add-ons. So, you know, if you want solution steps, if you want a randomizer, there's a template over here that you can use and then incorporate it into any of the scripts that you create. Lastly, we follow up. There's a bunch of different applications. So if you are interested in using MapleLearn and want to learn more about scripting and create scripts, here are things that have been optimized for MapleLearn, and you can go ahead and take a look at them. So I've used up 50 minutes of our 1 hour. I want to reserve the time. First, Nadia, if there's any questions on what we've shown for teaching and learning, and then if there's any questions in general.
I cannot see any question on this one, but we have few questions in the chat.
Sure.
So I can reply if you're okay, Karishma.
Yeah, please go ahead.
As I'm gonna take them. So first of all, we got a lot of feedback on the code edit region and coding in Maple and how to switch between those. So I think I've replied to most of you, but I think I sent it. But as I say, like we would be more than happy to have your feedback, so then we know actually which direction we need to take, because we are making improvement to those features every year for each release. But we'd be happy to have a one-on-one meeting for you to give us a more detailed feedback. So I've given my email to all the people who came with that. But if you have more, just don't hesitate. This one is done. Then we got a question about polynomial algebra. Someone is asking, are there any improvement with polynomial system, in particular, Grosvenor basis? So we haven't made a significant improvement for the 2023 release. The last time we've made improvement on this specific application was 2 versions ago. However, we've made a lot of improvement in the linear system solving, so that may actually impact this. But exactly the same thing. If you've noticed that you don't get the result that you want or something is wrong, don't hesitate to send an email, and we'd be happy to discuss that with you. So this is that. I don't know, Karishma, if you want to pick up.
No, please, Nadia, go ahead. It gives me a chance to take a break.
So someone is asking, the workbook will be available at the release. So the way it works actually with all the features that Karishma just presented, there would be like all put together in what we call the What's New help page. So when you're gonna go in the What's New, you will find visualization, all those categories, and each of them will contain all the features that Karishma listed with the example. So they will be available in that form in the help system of Maple. This one.
And actually, Nadia, before you go on, just for users, I should have clicked on this link. Let me bring it up over here. So I think you've seen this right now. There is a 20% off if you upgrade to Maple 2023 before March 31st, but it also includes some of the highlights that I've shown you now. And you'll see that, to Nadia's point, there will be a What's New page that goes live that gives some of these examples, as well as in the help system. Sorry, Nadia, please go on. I realized I forgot to click that.
Yeah, so this one is done. Sorry, I'm going through the list. So someone is asking any plan on improvement for determining Galois group of polynomial. So once again, this was not on we haven't made any big improvement for 2023, but any comment if you'd like, because we have a specific package on working with Galois group polynomials. So if you see that commands in this package don't fulfill actually your need, just don't hesitate actually to email us and give us some feedback on that. This one. So I'm going through the list once again. So someone is asking workbook. So someone is saying, well, awesome improvement, excellent presentation, but went pretty quickly. The recording will definitely be available. Thanks for that. And yeah, okay, improve. So a positive feedback. So we got a lot of those actually,
Yep.
which is always nice to hear.
I'm reading the chat, and just like, I think there's lots of things in here, Nadia, as we're kind of thinking about 2024 as well, lots of great ideas. So absolutely, we want to extend some of the capabilities that we showed here. Some of this is just new and something we're starting, and we're making improvements year after year. Yeah.
I'm going through, so we also got a request about the location of the steps that you showed in the package. So, I mean, the way we organized actually those steps was really the way we thought they would be accessible to each of the student package. So I'm sure Karishma can show you in the tool menu. You have like all those student package, so student calculus 1, student basics, and all of them. And we try to put actually the steps in each of the topics, so it makes sense to the student. However, if you feel that like we put the steps in the wrong package or it's not natural for the student to access it, once again, don't hesitate to give us some feedback on that. But just want to mention also something which I don't want to put Karishma on the spot, but those steps, they are accessible actually normally from each of the package. So when you build your expression from the context panel, you will be, there are actually documentation on that. You will be able to access them from the context panel. The command is called all solution or all steps, and it's there.
I don't know if I'm showing the right help page, Nadia, but I know it's all there.
Yeah. So someone is asking, what about AI and NLP? So for AI, we don't have actually a concrete plan for that. However, we'd be happy to talk about like any suggestion, which direction you see Maple taking for this type of feature, because we're always open actually to any suggestion. So really don't hesitate for that.
And Nadia, just to add over there, so we did make improvements to our deep learning package in the last release. So if you are on a previous release, it is there in Maple 2023. But I would, to Nadia's point, we'd both be really happy and interested to discuss a little bit further and kind of get your sense of which direction we should go.
Yeah, and I think so we got a lot of congratulations, amazing job, thank you Karishma. So one user, so Brian, as I say, don't hesitate to contact us. I'd be happy to have a one-on-one discussion with you on that. Okay, so someone is asking about using Maple on my book. So this is something that we always take into consideration. So for each of the release of Maple, we test the new feature and Maple itself on the latest OS of Windows, Mac, and Linux. So this is always the same. Sorry if I repeat myself, but if you see actually a pattern when Maple crash or you have issue to use a package or something on Mac or any other system, please email tech support, because we have a team actually working on that, and they can help you either to identify if there is an issue and also report to the development team to make sure that like we correct any bug or anything going on if it's the case. Okay, I think that I've replied to all the questions. So there are a lot of thank you, great presentation. So once again, the recording will be available. I'll let Michelle decide, but soon. And actually, I got a question also, the exact date of the release of Maple 2023. So I think the idea of this webinar was really to get you excited about Maple 2023, but I'd let Karishma reply about the timing.
Yeah, I mean, if all goes well, where Nadia and I are hoping that maybe it could be as early as next week. it's still in active, or it's still being tested. And so just stay tuned. We will let you know as soon as it's ready to kind of go out into the wild.
Okay.
So there was a question about the debugger in the coded region in Maple. So my apologies. I sent a link to the help page that is dedicated to this debugger. And because I'm French, I have access to the French website. So for the person who's asking why you have access to the French page, it's just because of me. But if you just remove .fr, you'll end up on the English website and you'll get everything in English.
And Nadia, I wanted to make some comments with regards to just other improvements. So in terms of the code edit region, that's an area, that's something that we want to continue to improve in 2024 and beyond. We want to make it even easier for users to program in Maple. Same thing, you know, our hope is to improve the debugger and debugging support. There are things that we have to do first before we can kind of implement all of the changes that our users want, but we're working on it, and I am happy with the experience in 2023. So I think that concludes this particular presentation. I don't know, Natty, did we get everything?
Yeah, I think I tried to answer to all the questions. Oh, one last thing that just arrived. Will the required OS be the same? So yeah, I mean, Michael, usually when a new Maple release is made, so the new Maple release will be compatible to the current free previous version of the OS. So I'm not depending on Windows, Mac, the update that you got. But we usually have on the FAQ on our website, we have a chart that we call compatibility chart, where you can follow actually which version of OS is compatible with which new release of Maple. Yeah. And we got again a lot of, I'm getting excited about the new release. So Karishma, I think you've done a really good job.
Good. Well, thank you, Nadia. It was a team effort. We put this together. And then for those, just a quick reminder about, you know, if you're excited, make sure to go ahead and upgrade before March 31st to save 20%. And I think that on that, Nadia, it's 11 o'clock. We should probably wrap this up. If you have further questions, feel free to email us. You can get in touch with Nadia or myself at info@maplesoft.com, and it will be forwarded to us. But thank you all for attending. It's been a real pleasure, and feedback is always welcome.